Hey traders, Raghee here, and in this update we're going to dive into the anatomy of a profitable day trade. And what I'm going to go through is the structure, the setup, the zones that we took actually this morning in the futures room and in the Sector Secrets Mastery. So this is a walkthrough of a setup that we did, and I'm going to walk you through why we took it and how we managed it, and really what it is that I'm looking for in a great day trade, and what part of it is in our control and what part of it is in the market's control. All right, so that's a lot to cover. Let's go ahead and start to unpack. First of all, if I'm going to day trade the NASDAQ, there are three windows, and the window that we're going to talk about is the window between basically 9:30 and about 10:35. Now, this is my window for entries. And the idea here is that we were inheriting a bearish trend before the bell, and then shortly after the bell, we started going into a more of a neutral trend. So that means I'm going to be focusing on what is a choppy but bearish directional bias. Ultimately, that means that I'd like to find a short, right? Especially since we are in a neutral environment where the trend that preceded was down. And what we focused on pretty darn early, and I'm going to show you actually the notes here. Let me show you what we do in the room, and you can see the way we shape up these trades. So this is a glimpse at the notes that I do in the session so we can follow along in the easiest manner. Right here, we acknowledge the bearish multi-trend. And right in here, we said, all right, and this is before we get to the level. We said, look, if we can get to the dashed line, which is right up in here, the dashed line of the HPMR, the LHPMR is the least of the volatility ranges for the PMR, so 13,875. And we also had something similar for the S&P. You can see that here at the bottom of the screen. And this had to trigger by 10:03. So that's the whole idea of this trade. So 13,875 puts us right in this area, and you could see the 955 and the 10 o'clock candles hit this level. Now there's two things I'm going to do here. For my futures traders, really important to park that limit order to sell, because at that point you're freed up to do additional things like I like to do, which is also enter QQQ puts. So when I put trades out there, I will have the NQ set up and the price trigger, as well as remind traders that we can buy at the money puts when we reach that level. So QQQ puts, the MNQ, and the NQ are all viable symbols to take when we hit that level. And then that was it, right? That was the entry. The first target we hit, and this is the important transition, and this got tricky for a little while. So we hit our first target. Let me show you that. So now we're in, right in here, 337 or 338 calls, right? And then we have, as we go down the list of notes as we're documenting the morning and figuring out what we want to do, and I put these notes out there for all the members, we get down to, all right, something I've been doing a lot lately, especially with day trades, that we do every morning in the Sector Secrets Mastery for an hour, and then Tuesdays and Thursdays in the Simpler Futures room. I've been really active about moving to break even pretty quick. Now, this gives us the luxury of having no more than unrealized profit as our risk, right? We tightened up the stop loss and the QQQs to 15% premium, right? So move down a little bit lower, and you'll see the next thing we want to do is start to scale out. And the first place we scaled out was 13,845 with a T2 or a second target down at 13,822. And then we would tighten the stop to 845. Now this just takes you through about 1052 this morning. You know, we continued to manage the trade, but that was the most important part of the trade, where it's still vulnerable to rips higher. It's still in a sideways market. Once we come back for the PM session, right around 1:35, which is when I like to come back for sort of the second half of the day. At this point, we already have a downtrend, but think about the fact that during the bulk of this trade, we're in a neutral environment. So it really does mean I want to be kind of vigilant about making sure I pay myself, making sure I move to a break-even stop, and then upon the second target, make sure I tighten up the stop to protect my unrealized profit. Second half of the day, red trend, you just let it work for you. You stay out of its way. It's overall moving lower, dominated by red grab candles, the red structure, and we just end up closing the trade by 3:50 p.m. Eastern, right? Now this worked for the S&P. You saw that we set that one up as well. My preference was for the NASDAQ, and that's the anatomy of a profitable day trade. Now, everything that came after where we did the bulk of our work, right? This part's my job. This part is our job, right? The rest of it is the market's job. And that's what I mean by separating what our job is, which is position ourselves in the path of least resistance, preferably for a short up at a ceiling, and then let the market do its thing. Look at what the market is telling us. By 12:30, we're starting to move in a downtrend. Why overmanage? Why micromanage? Let time and the remainder of the session do the work for us as long as we see the confirmation of the trend. So 2 really nice trades. Well, actually 3. Had a winner in the ZB. We had a quick short in the ZB. Took that one out. You know, we had a S&P set up, you could see in the notes there, and we had a NASDAQ set up. I wanted to take advantage of some long crude. You might have seen that also listed in the notes, but this is what we did. And what you saw in the notes, if you go back and pause the video, you'll see everything that I told our traders to do before it happens. We have these levels already in mind, and then we wait like a batter at the plate for the price to come over the plate at the spot we know we can manage risk from. All right, so really good day trading day. That's the anatomy of it. I'll see you in the next update. Hey traders, Raghee from Simpler Trading. Thank you so much for watching this video. Be sure to leave a like and a comment below. And remember, subscribe and click the bell icon so you'll get notified of the next update. And when you're ready to join me for live trading, be sure to head on over to simplertrading.com. I'll see you in the next update.